So I'm technically the Puru, which is a made-up title. But when you start your own company, you get to say what you're called. So congratulations to me. As Jenna said, I do arts and education to stimulate creative conversation about sustainable sanitation for the person, planet, and world community. In other words, we have a world where we easily prioritize clean air and clean water and good food, right? We're all here, and it's a very public forum, and we're all feeding our faces and picking at bones, and then we're gonna like go into a room over there and pull down our pants and do something we don't like to talk about. But the People's Own Organic Power Project, or the POOP Project, is all about getting people to come out of the water closet and say, I'm a pooper, yes, it's true. Right. And I've got pins that say that. If you'd like a pin, come see me afterwards. But it really has been quite an honor. I was at the United Nations for World Toilet Day in 2013, the very first World Toilet Day. And I've been creating art and education that does this work for about 7 years. And this May, I was lucky enough to receive a fellowship through the Center for Social Impact Strategy at the University of Pennsylvania, and they were sending me out to Nicaragua. And I was like, ooh, I'm going to Nicaragua. I wonder what else I can do there with poop and toilets. And as Jenna said, I just put it in my newsletter. I was like, universe, I'm leaving in 3 days. Is there anyone in Nicaragua who wants to talk to me? And both Rob and Jenna responded, and you know, an hour-long conversation later, and toilet twins for sure. And it really, I can't say enough about how amazing they were. I got into the airport in Nicaragua. I literally had no idea where I was going. I was like, well, I'm getting there in 3 days, and something will happen. And this woman, Yesenia, picked me up from the airport and took me up to Camoapa. Yesenia has a fan club over here. Yeah! Wonderful woman, and I got to see some projects firsthand. So I'm going to show you a little bit of what I saw there, but first I'm actually going to fast forward. So then, after being in Camoapa, I came back to Maragalpa and then went south about 2.5 hours to a place called Popoyo. That's a surfing community on the coast. Yeah, you know, she knows Popoyo. If you want surfing lessons, see the lady in peach. Okay. And I had the opportunity to go to a school in the local neighborhood and to check out what was going on there. And this is one of the pictures I took in their school. And I don't know if you can see this, but we can count them, how many latrines there are standing. 1, 2, 3, 4. And how many latrines are no longer standing? 1. This is also like a pit, and here's 2 more that have no lids. And I think to what Jenna was saying about the way that El Porvenir is different. I have heard for many, many years, following this stuff, going to conferences at UNICEF and the UN, about how so many NGOs come into a country and they say, here, we're gonna give you some toilets, there you go. And then a year later, they come back, or someone else comes back and says, oh, where are your toilets? Oh, you're storing clothes in there. Okay, well here, let's build you a new latrine. And this school is clearly what happened there, right? You can see that these people have come in and they've made an attempt to do something, and then those facilities no longer existed. And someone else came in and said, oh, here, let's take care of another one for you. And just to undermine the condition, right? This is a school where we came in to see a science fair, and we had to start an hour late because the rains had begun in that season. And there's so many kids that walk to school, they can't walk to school or ride their bicycles when it's raining. This is a school where the people in the community take turns who's going to cook lunch for everyone. The government gives them rice and beans, and they put in a little bit of their own meat. And that's how they do it, almost like we've had tonight. So if we can go to the next picture, you can see what I saw when I went into the one of the 2 latrines that was open. And this is where we were. There's like this cockroach crawling up there that you can see at the back. There's an open pit, which the World Health Organization would say is not actually safe sanitation. Right? Because we think about the vectors of the ways that fecal bacteria get back into our bodies. This is a space where a fly can very easily fly right into that pit, do a little back swim, and then come back onto your beans and rice. Right? And in a country like ours, that's like, oh, I had a bad day at Chipotle, you know? And now the next day we get some good water, some electrolytes, and we're all good. But as we know, for people living in Popoyo, that's not necessarily the situation. And there's no hand washing station by this. There's no care taken for how we keep those rains that are falling and turn them into new water next. So now, going backwards to what I saw when I was with El Porvenir, with Yesenia in Camoapa. Is there another picture here? Amazing. So this is Yesenia, and I think that's Eddie and Angel. And missing from this picture is Carlos, who all took me out there. And it was amazing. I mean, if you haven't been out to see the work that El Porvenir is doing with your own eyes, I can't recommend it enough. Because there we were in this far north city where Carlos, who's like the local celebrity, has a radio station where all the people listen to him. We go through the town and everyone's like, Carlos, hola Carlos. It was amazing. And all the great work that they're doing. If we can go one more, and this is Danitza. Oh, ooh.
Do you want to talk about
Yeah, no, let's go this one. This is Danitza. We can skip
Okay.
that one. Thank you. And this is her latrine. And when we came, I probably spent like an hour and a half with her. And first of all, she's like, oh, you want to see my toilet? Okay. Welcome to Nicaragua. But eventually we made friends, and we probably spent a half an hour standing around her well. And just like Jenna said, it was so clear the pride that she felt in her community, the sustenance that this provided, the ease in her schedule, to not be spending an hour to go and get and an hour coming back, to have a toilet that's where her kids are, you know, where she can watch them and be with them at the same time, where she's not in danger of getting bit by a snake or a scorpion for like squatting down in the dark. It sounds really silly, but it's very, very real. And the pride she had maintaining her space, and really also just the coverage. Look, I mean, compare that to most restrooms at a gas station. I would rather stay with Danitza here. The last thing I'll say is and also to say thank you again to Teresa and to Jenna and to Rob and Yesenia and everyone from Old Porvenir who really enabled me to see for the first time in 7 years doing this work, an actual project. And to that, I was just visiting with a friend of my parents on the way here, and my mom's friend, she said, so how do you know that the money that they get from these people tonight is going to go to the projects in Nicaragua? How do you know that? And I said, well, I'm sure you could go on to Charity Navigator or whatever, like I haven't done that, but I know because I saw it with my own eyes, and because I talked to people like Danitza and her mother, and her kids, and we played together, and I could see how this was the foundation of thriving communities that can then give back and be a part of the global system that we all want to be a part of. So please, tonight, give generously. There are amazing products for you back there in the silent auction and coming up. So hold up your cards. I don't know if your arms are sore. Maybe all together on the count of 3. Let's just practice lifting our arms up into the air. 1, 2, 3. Yes, for El Porvenir. Thank you so much. Have a great evening.